Every morning you make a decision that broadcasts exactly what you're terrified other people will see in you. You stand in front of your closet and you think you're choosing comfort or style or what fits the weather. But the truth is darker than that. You're choosing armor. What you wear is not neutral. It never has been. Your wardrobe is a psychological defense system engineered by your unconscious mind to manage one specific threat, being seen for what you actually are. And the patterns you fall into, the colors you avoid, the fit you choose, they all map directly onto the fear you carry but never name out loud. This is called impression management, a concept rooted in Irving Goffman's work on self-presentation. You are constantly performing a version of yourself, and clothing is the costume. But here's what almost no one realizes. The costume you pick is not about who you want to be. It's about who you're desperate not to be mistaken for. Think about the person who always overdresses. Not for an occasion, but for a Tuesday. The sharp blazer at the coffee shop. The collar when everyone else is in hoodies. You might think it's confidence. It's not. It's control. Or more precisely, it's the illusion of control when everything underneath feels like it's unraveling. Psychologist Abraham Tesser called this self-esteem maintenance. When you feel uncertain, you overcompensate in the one domain you can control. If you can't control how people perceive your intelligence, your worth, your belonging, you control the signal. You dress up. You tighten the tie. You make sure no one can accuse you of not trying, because the real terror is being dismissed as not enough before you even open your mouth. But there's another pattern. The opposite one. The person who disappears into oversized neutrals. Baggy black, shapeless grey, hoodies that swallow the body. You tell yourself it's comfort, that it's practical. But look closer. What you're actually doing is erasing the body that might be judged. This is called protective self-presentation, and it runs on a simple fear. If no one can see me, no one can reject me. If I take up less space, if I signal nothing, I'm safe. You're not dressing down, you're camouflaging. The bagginess is not about comfort, it's about concealment. And what you're concealing is the part of you that wants to be noticed, but is terrified of what happens if you are. Now think about color. You probably have a palette you default to without thinking, and that palette is not random. Research by Andrew Elliott on color psychology shows that what you wear signals approach or avoidance motivation. Red and bright colors signal dominance, confidence, a willingness to be seen. Darker, muted tones signal withdrawal, a preference to observe rather than be observed. If you live in black and gray and navy, you are not just dressing for versatility. You are choosing emotional neutrality. You're minimizing the risk that your presence will provoke a reaction you can't control. It's a bid for safety. But here's the loop. The more you hide, the more you confirm to yourself that there's something worth hiding. Then there's the logo, the brand name across your chest, the visible label. You think it's about quality or style, but Solomon Ash's work on conformity tells us what's really happening. You're outsourcing your identity to something recognizable, something that comes pre-approved. You wear the logo because it answers a question before anyone can ask it. Yes, I belong. Yes, I know the code. Yes, I'm one of you. But underneath that, there's a quiet desperation. Because if the brand gives you belonging, then without it, what are you? The logo is not confidence. It's a shortcut past the fear that your unbranded self isn't enough. And the more you rely on it, the more you hollow out the identity underneath. Let's go deeper. Think about the clothes you avoid. Not the ones you don't like, the ones that make you uncomfortable in a way you can't quite name. Maybe it's anything tight. Maybe it's anything bright. Maybe it's anything that draws the eye to a part of your body you've spent years trying to minimize. That avoidance is not about taste, it's about shame. Psychologist Paul Gilbert's work on shame and self-criticism shows that we avoid anything that might expose the part of ourselves we've judged as unacceptable. Your wardrobe becomes a map of your inner critic. Every item you refuse to wear is a vote of no confidence in your own right to take up space. And here's where it gets darker. The more you dress to hide, the more you train other people to see you as someone who needs to hide. You think you're protecting yourself, but you're actually teaching the world to overlook you. Clothing becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You wear invisibility, so you become invisible. Then you feel invisible, so you keep wearing it. The loop tightens. Now let's talk about the uniform. Maybe you wear the same thing every day. The same jeans, the same shirt, the same shoes. You call it minimalism. You say it removes decision fatigue. And maybe that's part of it. But the deeper truth is that the uniform is a refusal to be vulnerable. If you never change, no one can read your mood, your effort, your trying. You stay neutral, you stay safe. But safety has a cost. By removing variability, you also remove presence. You become background. And the part of you that wants to be seen, that wants to matter, it starts to starve. The uniform is not efficiency. It's emotional anesthesia. There's also the person who constantly changes their style, new aesthetic every season. Streetwear, then preppy, then dark academia, then minimalist. You think it's exploration. It's not. It's shape-shifting. Psychologist Mark Leary calls this self-monitoring, constantly adjusting your presentation based on who you think you should be in any given moment. The person who can't settle on a style is not confident. They're untethered. They're so afraid of being pinned down, of being seen as one fixed thing, that they keep moving. But all that movement is exhausting, and underneath it is the fear that if you stop, if you commit to one version of yourself, people will finally see through you. So you keep changing costumes. You stay in motion. You never let anyone get a clear look. Here's the turn, the thing you probably don't want to hear. Your clothing is not protecting you. It's isolating you. Every piece of armor you add, every neutral shade you choose, every logo you hide behind, it puts another layer between you and the connection you actually want. You think you're avoiding rejection, but what you're really avoiding is being known. And the cruelest part, the people you want to connect with, the ones who would actually see you, they can't get through the armor either. So you end up surrounded by surface-level relationships with people who only know the version you've dressed up for them. You're safe, but you're alone. And deep down, you know it. Now ask yourself this: when was the last time you wore something that scared you? Not something wildly inappropriate, but something that made you feel just a little too visible, a little too much like yourself. If you can't remember, that's your answer. You've been hiding for so long you've forgotten what it feels like to be seen. Psychologist Carl Rogers talked about the gap between the real self and the ideal self. The wider that gap, the more psychological distress you carry, and clothing is where that gap becomes visible. Every morning you dress the ideal self, the one you think will be accepted, and you bury the real one a little deeper. The outfit is not the problem. The problem is the belief that the real you is not enough. But here's the thing almost no one tells you. The people who are most magnetic, the ones you actually remember, they're not the ones in the perfect outfit. They're the ones who seem comfortable in their own skin, even if the outfit is imperfect. That ease is what draws people in, and ease only comes when you stop performing and start inhabiting. So what do you do with this? You start small. You notice the pattern. You ask yourself, what am I afraid this outfit will say about me if I wear it? And then you ask the harder question, what does it say about me that I'm afraid of that? The wardrobe is not the enemy. The fear is. And the only way out is through visibility, one honest choice at a time. You don't have to become someone else. You don't have to dress loudly or boldly if that's not you. But you do have to stop using your clothes as a place to hide. Because the version of you that's worth knowing is not the one in the armor. It's the one underneath, and that person has been waiting for you to let them breathe. Your closet is not just fabric and thread. It's a historical record of every time you chose safety over truth. Every time you hid instead of risked. Every time you believed the lie that who you are is not enough. But that record is not permanent. You can rewrite it, one choice at a time, one morning at a time, one moment of courage at a time. The question is not what should you wear. The question is, who are you willing to be? And once you answer that, the clothes become irrelevant, because the person who knows who they are can wear anything, and the person who doesn't will never find the right outfit. The armor was never protecting you, it was just keeping you small. If this made you look at your closet differently, share it with the one person who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because we're just getting started on the psychology you've been avoiding.